Awesome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first day of the 2025.2 Flamingo PTG. And this is our very first session in the Manila team today. So we are meeting for a couple of hours over this week. All of the PTG there have changed, and see from since I've done this. So let me uh, replace this URL real quickly. So yeah, this is the very first session from a lot of other sessions that we will have throughout this week. Um, yeah, so this is pretty much the Etherpad. We didn't have any change requests from the previous week, so everything stands as the original time slots. And instead, we've now a collaborative uh, a session joined with the Nova team on Friday, right before our happy hour. So if you're interested, I'll add it here. So from 13:30 UTC to 14 UTC, we'll have a collaborative session with Nova, and we are one of our main goals is talking about um, the VirtualFS integration and what's left for us. So I've just added it here in case you are interested. Please join us there. But yeah, let's get back to business on this first session. Traditionally, over the in the PTG, we do retrospective as the very first thing on the PTG. So today we would like to start with the retrospective as usual, and then we can um, epoxy. Yeah, sorry. So would like to start with a retrospective for the epoxy release cycle so that we can discuss previous action items and also talk about what went well and things that we can improve for the next cycle and try to come up with some action items as well depending on the outcome of these discussions. So yeah, um, I think we can get started with the action items from the previous PTGs. So let's go through the first one. Bugs are rotation. Yeah, encouraging new bugs are candidate. We talked about this and we've had a couple of discussions during the last PTG, and also we talked um, to some other people separately, but we didn't bring this up a lot during the weekly meetings. I think this would still be a nice thing to encourage and to talk to people about. I'm not sure if like people are um, kind of holding back on these, but we tried to explain the what exactly is that we would need to do. You would need to do as a bug czar. Vida kindly explained that. So yeah, I think we can bring this up in more occasions than we usually did, and I kind of like need to take the responsibility for that for bringing that up more often. So yeah, I think that's on me. We can also think of other plans to try to address this. So being, for example, trying to um, get like someone committing more involved, or trying to split the role and trying to break it up into a couple of other items so that we can share the load between more people. But that's something that we can discuss. So yeah, I think that's all the thoughts I had on that. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
I just want to mention that, as before, we can provide sessions to anyone who's interested. It is kind of a commitment. So hopefully, when people are giving this a thought, you're thinking multiple cycles, and there will be an overlap time and plenty of help. So just wanted to mention that both Carlos and myself will be available to help out. So hopefully you'll give it some thought. If you'd like, you can reach out async on IRC and ask any questions, and I'll be glad to answer or help out. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Carlos, I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I was just thanking Vida for her availability to help, and also for all of the work she does as Bugsar. Yeah, and also, like as you said, we are here to help. So in case you'd like to um, work on that, we can work on it with us, as you said. So thanks, Vida. Yeah, so next one, including iCall with the event announcements. So this one, there were actually like two different things related, and I think there was another action item related to these in the previous PTGs. One of them not only being the iCal with the event announcements, but also trying to communicate the events earlier. I tried to make that happen. I think in one of the occasions I left it for like I kept talking about it over the weekly meeting, but I only sent the email 1 week in advance. But for the iCal, I didn't send in the email, but to the regular audience, I would send the email, but also send a calendar invite using my own account, and then people would receive. I think that that's proven effective for the bug squashes we had, because I mean I think people were kind of like they had that reminder of like please join this, and also we try to get as more attention as possible and share the list of bugs and try to get people to take a look at it at least and be aware that there will be bugs related to their drivers or related to something that they've been working on added to the list. So I think it's progress. But yeah, the iCal can like be more inclusive for people that can also join and are not regular attendees of the Manila weekly meeting. So yeah, I can work on that for the next cycle. I think this can be like something that we can continue improving, and yeah, I'll work on that. So right. All right. So do you have anything else you'd like to add? All right. So next one, creating a review dashboard was assigned to Gotham. Yeah, I think that review dashboard idea was kind of important and something that Gotham suggested back then, so that we could have a dashboard to look at. Like it would be kind of a common place that everybody would have the dashboard and look at it, and look for reviews that are needing the attention that have been lingering there for a while, and they didn't have enough reviews. So it's nice and easier for us as reviewers to look at some place and have kind of like a centralized view. So I think it would be nice, but I'm not sure if it was
Yeah, no,
something.
I think I'd slipped my mind this one. So it was supposed to be using the Get It Dash Creator project, and yeah, I didn't work on this, but it's worth doing it. And basically, my idea was to try to find a way that we could, have a list of things that said, hey, this is something that I need to look at in the next few days. This there is going to be like a deadline because we have specs and so on, um, and we have. It won't be perfect around the deadlines and things because these are moving targets. Um, but we at least have something that we could say. I haven't looked at something for the past, you know, 3 months. I need to get respond to this review comments and on this particular patch and so on. So a dashboard would be a good, consistent way for us to do that. Gerrit does a decent job with its default dashboard, but I think we could add a Manila review dashboard and keep improving it. So tack this item back on me, and I'll work on this.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, and that's a very nice idea. Thank you for bringing it up. Um, okay, so I think we can go to the next item, which is introducing Manila to the vulnerability management team. Yeah, I think we've talked about this in the past, and all of the
We
projects
have some
in the
updates.
last cycle, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
so we have some updates. One is that I think the work we did with some interns and the Bandit tooling, which is pretty cool. I think we have jobs on all three repositories, right? Python Manila Client, Manila UI, and Manila at the moment. Um, and these are non-voting jobs, but most of the concerns that these non-voting jobs are bringing up are in third-party drivers. And we're not going to have an easy resolution to these right away. So at least what I mean, the one thing we could do in the in take it as an AI would be to try to at least get these to be ignored by the job so that we can promote the job to be a voting job. And the reason we would ignore that is because we don't. I mean, when we're claiming the security stance, we're not really directly talking about the third party systems unless it's like a grave security issue, but something like a configuration which has an insecure default is probably an acceptable thing for a third party driver that the Manila team does not actively maintain. Um, and the other update with this is that instead of trying to get Manila in the VMT, we're trying to get all of the OpenStack projects under the VMT. So there's a resolution for this. I'll just drop a link to that. It isn't merged yet, but there are no objections so far. It is in the direction of what uh, we were discussing. And part of the reason was because the VMT was assisting teams like Manila, but not, um, actively working. Actually advertising that it was overseeing all of the Manila security process. So that's the link.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we made some progress, but we should finish up the bandit stuff this cycle. It'd be nice for I mean, we could retroactively even try to backport anything and improve epoxy, but I have seen the outputs of these jobs so far. I think whatever the tool could find, we've gone ahead and fixed it. Whatever we could maintain in the parts that we do maintain.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, it's nice progress having all of the projects under the VMT. I think it's kind of like a nice move. Thanks for working on the resolution. And yeah, I think it's going to be good for everyone, right? Um, Thanks, Gotham. Next one, talking about the removal of the Manila client and support for OSC, which is interesting. We've added a deprecation warning to the OSC in the 2023.1 release, which is now was just moved to unmaintained, just not like a couple of I think last cycle, the previous one, it was moved to unmaintained. And then yeah, I think we kind of need to talk about the removal now. We have a topic for it at the PTG later this week, but we really need to talk about the removal and actually remove that part of the code. There are a couple of dependencies when we start to do that. But yeah, it's we kind of like no, this isn't a slurp release. This one like 2025.2. But
So it's a perfect time to
yeah,
drop it.
yes,
This is I mean, we could do this in the slurp release, not like we can't. But removals are totally fine in the non-slurp release as long as we've had the deprecation window that we've done. So we've had a pretty long one at this point, right?
yeah,
So it was ready all the way back in Z. I think Antelope we announced and we actively added a deprecation warning.
yeah,
Um, which means every time you type the Manila CLI command, you're going to see a deprecation warning. That was done in Antelope, but even before that, the command sets were all complete. Um, so yeah,
yeah.
it's a good time to tackle this, which means get rid of it in the Flamingo cycle.
Yes, thank you. Almost 6 releases at this point, which means almost like 3 years. So it's enough notice. We can send emails to the mailing list as well, just to say we've done this for a long time. We've added the warning for a long time, so we intend to proceed to the next step, which would be the removal of it. So we'll talk about this during the PTG over the week. But yeah, that's all we had from action items from the previous PTG. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I think we can move on to type what we think went well and what we think that we can improve for the next cycle. Yeah, so I think we can get 5 minutes maybe, or let's like yeah, 5 minutes should be enough. So in 6 minutes from now, or 15:25 UTC, we can get back and discuss what the things on what went well and what we can do to improve in the next cycle. Yeah, so I'll mute myself and go off video, and we will keep typing for the next 5 minutes. Okay, I think we are past 1 minute from what I suggested we should use. So I think we can start discussing the things that went well for this previous cycle, and also go to the things that we can improve later. So yeah, I think we can get started with the first one that's there: bug management and quality impact. So Fida have kindly added bug reports that, and yeah, I mentioned that like the frequency of bug squashes was nice. But Vida, please share your thoughts.
Thanks, Carlos. So I added the link here, which is basically the baseline was at the end of the epoxy PTG. And you can see the numbers change for each one of the projects, like Manila. At the end of the last PTG, the count for new bugs was 16, and today it's 3. So you can see that trend there, how the different categories changed and progressed. So overall, the 2 bug squashes that we had did improve our backlog, and we did close some basically code reviews and close some bugs. The first bug squash, the focus was uh, in progress bugs and helping to improve the code reviews and closing, basically merging code. The second one was stale bugs. So overall, they did help. The little uptick in open bugs currently is partly due to new contributors. And as you can see, also the in progress bugs has also increased. So they're finding bugs, they're fixing bugs. So that's how this bug trend is. And overall, as far as the projects, as you can see, Manila continues to be the active project, and Manila UI and Python Manila client, they pretty much follow the trend, and those bug counts and bug backlog hasn't changed much. So that's pretty much the trend. And if anybody likes to dig in a little more about this, just let me know. I can add more data here, but this is just a summary, and let me know. So that's it. Back to you, Carlos. Thanks.
Thank you, Vida. Very nice insights. Um, yeah, so Gotham, you've raised your hand, please.
Yep. Sorry. So yeah, so I think the trend is pretty cool. Definitely the open bugs now is still a three-digit number. That's something we certainly have room to improve upon, right? But like you said, I think the aspect of us opening new bugs could be in the new contributors, but could be us for the new contributors. So we were starting to report a lot of bugs um, that were not really bugs, but opportunities for somebody new to uh, patch. This could be documentation changes, or could be really minor issues that we wouldn't really call a bug, just a nice improvement to have. But these were things that we would record and have a place where we could explain to somebody that was absolutely new. This is how one would go ahead and submit a code submission to OpenStack. And at the end of it, you've resolved an issue. So kudos to you, kinds. So that was that was certainly the intent. I think a little bit of that jump was could be attributed to that. But it's really nice to see the numbers. Thanks for compiling them, Rita.
Sure. Great. Thanks for adding the extra clarification, Gotham. So we did see this trend at the end of epoxy as well, when there was new bugs added, partly because of this initiative that we're involved in, helping new contributors. So we started recording and opening more bugs. So yeah, it continues in this cycle as well. Thanks, of course.
Yeah, thank you. This is, I think that another encouraging thing is it's almost like twice the amount of in progress bugs too, which means that whatever bugs we have people working on a lot of them. So it's it's nice, and yeah, nice to see the trends. Thanks for putting the numbers together. Yep. Pretty cool. Right. Next up, we have um, yeah, mid-cycle checkpoint. It's a great thing to have. Yes, indeed. And I've added to it saying, like having the collab reviews alongside. It's usually something really nice because we can kind of like use the time to also look how or take a look at how things are going and if they talk about the implementation of all of the things that we discussed. So yeah, I think it's added by Ashley. Would you like to add something else, Ashley?
No, we've been doing this for I believe 2 cycles now, and it continues to be a boon really for the community to have that checkpoint, and also the like including the collab review session scheduled as part of the feature proposal phase. I think those are one of the greatest things to come out of a retrospective in recent cycles.
Yeah, indeed.
I think the aspect that the collab reviews were probably, I mean, people were probably shy to schedule them, right? They were even questioning, do I really need this? It's not really that big of a change or something in their heads. But I think when you start putting people together in a room saying this is a mid-cycle, and we're going to go through all these top items and things, and it makes it an avenue for collab reviews at that point. So it was certainly a great improvement.
Yes, totally. Uh, awesome. Anything else on this topic? Right. Move on to the next one. Internships. Plenty of them over the past cycle. Yeah. Would you like to share more about this, Gotham?
I actually don't have the numbers, and I wish I did. I think I should start cataloging the number of interns that we've had or what all they've accomplished. And I think it's been a pretty good cycle in that aspect, and I'm very glad that we have folks here that love to mentor and to actually have the time, the energy to onboard these interns and to help them make some meaningful contributions. The biggest of the things that I'm seeing a movement on is the open API work, and that for us is important because it's a really nice collaborative thing across multiple project teams. So for to have that kind of a first person's view of how things are done across OpenStack projects in a collaborative manner is really cool for a new intern to get to as well. So it's overall for us a good learning experience as well as mentors, and for the interns themselves. Yeah, uh, cool cycle at that. I think we have things lined up for this cycle as well, so that's no different. I'm very glad this continues to be a big thing for the Manila folks.
Indeed, it's kind of I like that we are kind of involved on every single internship opportunity that I think we've heard of. So it's really nice. I kind of like did some um, search on numbers on my brain. I think we had 3 interns early in the cycle for Valencia College, and late in the cycle we also had 3 other interns. For North Dakota State University, we currently have 5 interns. They started working with us in Epoxy, but also they still have a couple of weeks of internship. And for Seattle University, that's pretty much working on OpenAPI. So we have Jonathan and Honorin joined us later. And yeah, it's also they're working on OpenAPI. It's really nice. We meet with them regularly, like, on Fridays. So pretty nice and really encouraging. We managed to get a lot of things done with these internships, and yeah, helps a lot things moving on. So as Gautam said, thank you to everyone involved. And if you'd like to get involved as well, just please let us know. There are plenty of opportunities and plenty of projects that we can propose. So really great, and I'm really proud to see that like we have a lot of mentors and people that are really interested on mentoring on this side. So this is awesome. Thank you. All right. So things that we can improve. We have a couple of items there. Let's go through the first one. Specification reviews. Yeah, got them.
Yeah, this one was basically I'm being critical of myself here. Um, the spec reviews I think suffered this cycle. We had three open ones. I think we didn't land any of them. Although we had previous specs that ended up being features, right? I'm not saying that we didn't land features or improvements in Manila. I think we got a lot done. But with these three specs that were there, that were I don't think we did a good job going around um, and having giving them responses quick enough and it's possible that some of these authors would have been okay submitting code during this cycle. And I think we kind of hinted at that, saying we don't really need the spec to merge. We're just hashing out the last few details. Go ahead and continue with your code submissions. But I don't think that happened, and that might be a misunderstanding around how the specs process even works. And as far as the process goes, what is written is not really something that I mean, we keep a lot open to interpretation, and that's intentional because we would want to be flexible. Apart from the release timelines, we really can accommodate some flexibility when it comes to folks wanting to have a discussion and actually designing things in the community. Um, so that's just me reflecting on how those three specs could have probably gotten a little more attention. That said, I did go missing for I think a month and a half. So that was again probably a drag on the team in terms of trying to get reviews done with and so on. Um, yeah, I don't know how we can improve on the personal missing aspect, but I think with some review discipline, we should try to get the spec reviews some more attention than we currently do. I really would want to stop postponing this spec review deadlines, right? But I wish we had more checkpoints that we don't really need that deadline to remind us that, oh yeah, we have some specs to merge.
I and no problem going missing. I mean, it's like it happens, life happens, and we all of us at some point need to take time away from work. So um, the spec reviews, they I think it's not something specific to this cycle, right? For the previous cycles, we've also like been extending deadlines and postponing a couple of things. So I don't think the blame lies on someone, honestly. And I think like it's kind of and if we look at all of the other changes as well, it's not only the specs that are sometimes not being able to get some traction in the reviews, even though like we have kind of tried to keep some um, strict deadlines or earlier deadlines for the spec reviews. So yeah, maybe the review discipline would be the way to address this. And yeah, likely the checkpoints, they can help. Maybe like for the 3 or 4 or more weeks before the actual spec reviews, we have like targets of getting new reviews for that spec every single week. At least like having someone looking at that like weekly. Um, this shouldn't be like how things are done. We should like someone proposes a patch set, we should always like look at changes as soon as they are posted. I know that's tricky though, and but yeah, we should likely set some goals for us, because it's if we have multiple people reviewing it and at least two people are looking weekly or providing the feedback every week on the updates, then I think these specs, they would like move um, likely faster. So I think it's as we've been struggling for the past few cycles on this, I think it's more a thing of review discipline. Like as soon as the specs are proposed, we try to do our best to get them moving. So yeah, um, and also like I think that adds to like the other thing that I added below, like which is increasing the review cadency. I think that's also something that we address, but we'll get there soon. Uh, so yeah, thanks for bringing this up. Definitely something that we can take some action items to address. Maybe, yeah, as I said, try to bring this up more often and try to get this as a goal. Or having kind of like a spec review festivals as other people are doing, have been doing. I think the Nova team's done things like that. Like they have
Yeah.
some day to have focus on spec reviews, and they will meet for that day or a week. I saw some emails from them, and I think this can help to get the direction on the reviews if everyone is okay. So yeah, definitely
So one
something that
one
we can
thing
look
for
at.
sure is making sure that the specs are getting discussed at the PTG, right? Like if we have open specs for this upcoming cycle, we have to make sure that they're there in this PTG, or we have some sort of a collab review that's scheduled way before the spec review deadline. Um, so this stuff will just get more ice. I know it's harder to organize stuff and for folks to come in to the PTG and actually discuss something, but we've seen how effective that is, and so we can't stop doing that kinds.
Yeah,
So if there is a spec that's proposed mid-cycle, then we'll definitely try to schedule a meeting to get to discuss it. That would
yeah,
be the attitude. Unless it's so trivial that we're okay just doing code reviews. I suspect most things are not, right. Then you're not writing a spec for it um, if it is trivial. So it's worth a synchronous discussion, is what I'm thinking,
yeah.
even if a brief one.
Maybe I should update the spec freeze deadline that we put up on the schedule. So let's look at the epoxy schedule. So we have this Manila spec freeze definition here, and we've added to the feature proposal freeze that collaborative review sessions must be proposed at this timeline. Maybe for the spec freeze, I'll mention that specs should ideally be discussed at the PTG, but if they are not, then we should definitely um, add a new spec review session with the team and propose it so that we can get some discussion at it and try to move it faster. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me. And probably just make it a point to remind folks during the weekly meetings and things.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Next item is broken third-party CI systems. Yep. Would you like to add something on that, Gautam?
Yeah, so this has been a constant trouble thing, right? And we've been a little more lax about it than other project teams. I think we have not thrown out third-party drivers just because they don't have CI systems or they don't have working ones. But it's been a continued concern that vendors are just telling us, hey, we're trying to work on this. It's just not working, and we have to take their word for it and merge patches. And to me, that's a little, annoying each time that happens. Partially because, I mean, pull all stops, right? Try to at least give us a convincing reason that everything is working, that you're not breaking anything with these bug fixes and so on. But typically, we have to ask that question uh, every time. And for me, that makes it a little harder to review things as well, because I'm not familiar with their code, nor am I familiar with their backend. And unless it's tested on the CI system, I can't tell whether things are working fine. And we could very well be shipping broken code. Um, so I'd really like to avoid that, and I don't have the great a great one-stop idea that basically we can implement. It feels more like it has to be. I mean, because we are being absolutely flexible with vendors, I think they have to reciprocate that and actually just get their act together on the CI systems front. If not, I think we have a bigger problem, right? We might have the bigger problem might be that we have a CI that is so hard and unwieldy to actually implement, and so that's something we have to do something as a community. And I think the Cinder folks did have some discussion during this cycle. I want to follow up on that as a way of improving, perhaps. So we go one more step as a community to pull together all the docs and the know-how on how to run the CI and hope for something to be changing in the Flamingo cycle.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I think at some point we started having that flexibility, but it's currently at a stage that we have to deal with it for every single cycle, which is honestly not kind of ideal, in my honest opinion. Uh, the third party CI, it's kind of like it also takes us the knowledge or takes us the kind of awareness if some change that is not actually related to that driver, if it is impacting other third party drivers as well. So it's kind of currently we don't have many like CI systems healthy. And in the past, we've kind of remember Douglas and Gotham used to maintain a spreadsheet on CI jobs that were failing or passing, or also the names of the CI maintainer and the organizations that they like were related to. So maybe we should look at it, like the active drivers try to reach out to people and ask them to fix their CI. Um, yeah, I think that flexibility is good sometimes when it's merging, when we are merging a couple of changes, and but it's kind of complicated when it starts to become a standard, right? Every single time we kind of like do the same thing, and we kind of don't have a lot of CI systems running and giving us the confidence that we can merge certain changes, and drivers won't be impacted by that. So tricky situation, yes, and we we need to bring this up and try to get people to focus on the CI aspect, because it's like really important for the health of all of the features in the projects and all of the drivers and their own drivers, of course. So yeah, maybe you should also. I think it's kind of like a bit late at this point to add something at the PTG. Could add it to the parking lot and then make it a weekly meeting thing if we don't have the chance to talk about this at the PTG. But it's definitely that we need to discuss with other people that are also involved and have other drivers in Manila. So yeah, I'll add this to the parking lot of this PTG. And if we can catch it, then we discuss this at a weekly meeting, um, and then we can also invite some maintainers that we know, ask them to join the weekly meeting at a weekend and try to discuss it with them. Also, anything else to add to this topic? All right, that takes us to the next to the next topic, which would be increasing the review cadency. I'll try to be brief, but I think I mentioned a bit about this before on the specification reviews as well. We currently have a couple of changes, or a bunch of changes that are taking some time to be reviewed, and it's tricky to keep up with the reviews on all of the changes. So we've been increasing the amount of reviews, and that definitely helped on the changes being merged and having more reviewers to go and ask for reviews and to take a look at all of the changes. But it's still very tricky to get like the changes reviewed very fast and merged very fast. I think there's also a bit of like of it to blame in the third-party CI systems as well, because if you just like saw that, oh, this change is proposed, there's someone from this specific driver voting on the change and the CI is passing, then it would be easier to get more attention as well. But there's also a lot of time spent in the back and forth with the driver maintainers, asking them to act the change and to tell us, like what are the tests that you ran on this change. So that also adds up to the review cadency. But yeah, I was looking at the average of. Let me see if I have the link of that. But we kind of had we have the review analytics on PTG right now, and that's a place that I was using to look at how long is it taking um, to merge one change in Manila. So I'm actually looking at it right now. Let's see if it shows up now. I might have the wrong link on Bitergio, and I'll share it here. This is the overview of all of the Manila reviews and contributions for the last 3 months, which is currently loading. Sorry, internet is not helping, and it's not the lightest thing to load on Bitergio, but yeah, so this usually there is another board that tells us how long is it taking to merge the changes, and I was checking the average of it, and it was something that we could improve. I need to look at it only the project and not only the few months. I'll pull up the link and I'll share it with you. But this also gets us a very nice idea, and that's something that I was looking at. Like I was like, yeah, we maybe should be looking at the amount of days that one change is being waiting. Garrett also has that kind of information sometimes. Like if you look at Garrett, it can tell you on the I think the main review dashboard when you log in, there is a session on changes that have not been reviewed for the past XYZ days. So this could also be a part of the dashboard, and I think this can also be addressed with the help of a dashboard. In the future, we can try to ask reviewers to look at it and try to do their best to do not leave the changes lingering and waiting for reviews for a very long time, because it's like frustrating for the authors. And yeah, this is not a very simple issue, honestly. And I think again, it ties to the review discipline. It can help with it a lot, and maybe we can have a couple of tools to help us with that. So yeah, that's all I had on the review cadency. Not sure if you have any other thoughts or if you disagree with me or in something that I said. I'm open to help, open to listen to the feedback and everything. But yeah, that's all I had for this. Right. Here in silence.
No,
Let's.
yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't, I hadn't seen the BitterJet dashboards around this, but that's a cool thing. Um, that alongside the review dashboard, discussing it at weekly meetings might be a good improvement. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I'll pull up that link and I'll share it. But yeah, there is this data on how long are changes taking to be merged. So I'll definitely share that as soon as I have the link. But yeah, I think let's go to the next one. So encourage and propose collab reviews early in the cycle and discuss it at earlier at the weekly meetings and assign reviewers. So I think this was shared by Vida. Vida would like to add more on this.
Yeah, I think so. We already sort of talked about this a little bit in the retrospect in the previous section, but basically speaks for itself because I think that the collab reviews may help the review cadency, which also ties back into our bug squash trends and overall quality of code. So it's like a pillar, and it kind of starts with this. Um, if anybody has ideas how we can encourage this to have more and early in the cycle, uh, that'd be great. Just let me know, let Carlos know. This would be a great help overall.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. This is indeed would be of great help. Um, yeah, maybe try to have it earlier in the cycle. Like we've used the feature proposal freeze opportunistically for the spec for the collab reviews as well, and we've just mentioned that it's great, but maybe we can bring this earlier in the cycle, or at least one part of it, like for the mid cycle, for example. Try to make it happen a bit earlier, or in case there are features, because the features do not have to wait until the feature proposal freeze to have the collab reviews early in the cycle. So if a change is not getting a lot of traction, then the default would be to ask for a collab review session, and then people can like get their attention on that change. We can schedule some time and go over the change.
Mm.
This is kind of like very important. We have a couple of features that are exactly in that scenario right now, and they have been actually in the past. So yeah, I think this is kind of like good. Maybe set some reminders that
Sure.
I think partially this was the idea behind review focus,
yeah.
right? With review focus, one thing I think we didn't. Um, I mean, we were trying to assign to every review two owners, right? It wasn't just the maintainer that's actually pushing the thing, but also the reviewers.
Yep.
And I think we kind of slipped that part as well over time. And those two people would provide statuses during the meetings and so on. So we can go back and try to revive that. Um, and we're all doing great work, by the way. It's these gaps, right? And that cannot be improved without, like, adding something on our schedule. Or
Yeah, makes sense. Yes. Re-implement or reinforce. Awesome. Let's reinforce that. Thank you very much for the feedback. That would be something nice to do. So we are at the top of the hour. I think we will run a bit late. Sorry for that, but we have still a couple of items in the list that would be nice to cover. So if it's okay, yeah, please stay. Otherwise, this is being recorded. So if you need to drop, that's fine too. Sorry about this running late, but yeah, we have plenty of stuff to discuss. So yeah, let's continue. Next thing is, could still use those expert seminars. Um, got
I think
them?
this was my thought back on, like, things for new contributors, and I can expand on this. Basically, the point is we keep repeating ourselves. And over time, we've just, when we got lazy, we'd record a video, right? I think we had this plan of trying to do that preemptively a couple of cycles ago. And I think out came 2 videos or something out of a big long list of things that we thought we could be. So yeah, couple of painful things we could just go ahead and record content for and pass it on to these new contributors. Um, when we have some time, that would be a nice to do, and I would move it to the action items and actually just track it, saying, "Hey, have we done the video? We do this multiple times this cycle. I'm sure we'll get it."
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, let's move this to the action items. It would be nice. Awesome. All right. Anything else to add on that? I just took an action item. I can bring this up. We can likely not have only one person doing this, but I can take this and we can look at the list. We had the list initially, and I'll try to get some people to work on it and work on it myself too. Cool. Anything else? All right. Next up, we have update our doc with OSC commands everywhere. Um, yeah, this is kind of actually not something that didn't well or anything like that. It's just that our documentation is mentioning Manila still in a lot of other places. And I think at the time that we do the removal of the client, we should always also have the documentation updated, fully updated to use Manila only or Manila OSC only. So this is something that we'll need to do and we kind of need to improve. We have to work on that doc. We over the past few months, we've reported a couple of issues, and we have currently a lot of outreach prospects and some interns that contributed with some of these documentation updates. And they have been working on this, so we have some progress. But there's still like a couple of things to modify because our documentation is it has like a whole lot of examples on how to use a couple of commands. Yeah, so I also see like actually adding something like updating the docs before we go forward with removing the Manila command support. Yes, I think that would be the ideal thing. And if we are removing the Manila command support, that has to happen over this cycle. So yeah, maybe we will need to take this not only as a side project with the interns. Instead, we will need to work on this actively and have a goal to have it removed by um, before the client release, for example, which is milestone 3. So yeah, we have a couple of months to get it done. This is Flamingo. This is Epoxy. We need to look at Flamingo. So yeah, it should be done by the week of August. The week that ends at August 29. Flamingo 3 is the milestone and final client for client libraries. Final release for current libraries. So that's when we should get this done. We have kind of the dates already. Um, yeah.
I would say lately we've been using these doc updates as a good first time contributor bug. So there's a couple of them that are probably still open. I would say aiming for maybe the mid cycle to close out anything that's still open and pushing to do large scale doc updates. Right now, I think we have them broken up over little pieces, you know, a line here, a line there,
Mm.
specifically for as a low hanging fruit, but maybe instead we just do whole scale
Yeah.
uh, update in on maybe like one for admin, one for user, one for I don't know API. I'm not quite sure where all the commands are, but or repositories as well because we've got documents for each repository that use these.
Yeah. That makes sense. Thank you. It's nice if we can have that by the mid cycle. Yes, maybe we we need to look at assignees for this, and we need to pick this up and work on this actively. I'm not sure if the cadency it's going to be good enough when if we have like the interns. Maybe we can yeah do this.
Yeah, assign a deadline like you guys are talking,
Yeah.
and if we can't finish it with the interns, we just finish it based on you know what cycles we can pick up from them. Because we're the mentors, right? Like we know what's happening with
Yeah.
these patches, so we can get them wrapped up. I was actually going to edit a couple of outreachy ones this week because I have provided review feedback and such, and I probably can't get them to do exactly what I want them to do, so I might just edit them and get them in. So we have way too many things, open patches like that we could each do.
Yeah, there's like a balance between letting a contributor handle as much as they can, but then also ourselves go in and do what they can't uh, to shepherd it along.
Awesome. Thank you. Great. Thank you for the input. Communicated deadline for that. Maybe, yeah, when we have the deadline or when we have the proposal for the feature proposal freeze, the date for the feature proposal freeze, then I think it's a good timing for it. So the deadline should be kind of the same, and then we communicate what is it and what we expect for that.
Sure, I can
Awesome.
uh, I can go ahead and put my name forward for after feature proposal freeze to do big changes or shepherd anything to close after that and just get things done. All in
Awesome.
all, docs these this kind of doc change isn't too much work.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, I think that's all I had for this topic. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Awesome. Took the notes. Sorry. Yeah. Next up, we have testing features earlier. This is something that comes as a learning, as always, right? And we should always be very intentional on testing, and we should always ensure that we are testing everything that we are proposing. And it happened not only this cycle, but for a couple of other features before. It's kind of complicated situation where we propose the features, and at the moment of the proposal, we say, yeah, but this doesn't have any testing, or like there isn't new tests being added, or even try to test this change with Manila Tempest plugin. Um, this can lead to a couple of bugs, and we had a couple of instances of changes that actually broke multiple CIs because There are things that were not working just fine, and this could have been avoided. And I take full blame for not enforcing it. I should, I should have enforced this change should be tested, or have like at least, this is what I'm saying, like at least an empty Manila Tempest plugin change with a depends on to the feature full patch in Manila, and then try to run this against Manila. Ideally, we should have one pointing to Manila Tempest plugin pointing to the Manila change, and then, if possible, another Manila change pointing to Manila Tempest plugin one, so that we ensure that nothing will be broken. Because I mean, if something is broken and we are not testing it when we are merging, like Manila Tempest plugin is not catching any of the issues, then it's tricky, right? And then we get to a critical situation where we need to fix stuff, fix jobs, fix CIs, fix drivers, just because we didn't have enough testing, and it was supposed to be something that we are doing 100%. I think over the past few cycles, I try to make this more clear, communicating in documentations, creating the new feature contribution guide, and explicitly saying that we should be testing the features, and we should propose the tests at the time that we um, propose the changes as well, like the featureful changes. All of that would be really important, but sometimes, yeah, we get to a point that we don't like we have a lot of the pressure on, and we are kind of we end up in a hurry to merge something, and then we like miss these details. So maybe this should be kind of something that we will need to be more strict about, and do not let changes merge without any, like, at least one empty change on my Tempest plugin pointing to it and running the test with it, and we can have, like, certainty that it's not going to break any of the drivers. Yeah, so this has also to be something related to communication, and I think at some point it has to become something that is also as important as the Manila core change, because it is. Testing should not be left aside, and we should always be enforcing that, both of us reviewers, and also we should be 100% committed to that as contributors as well. That's all I had. I think I might have extended myself too much on this, but yeah, it's something that I take as lessons learned again, and we've had this before. It's not the first time, but this cycle we had a couple of things with it as well. So, do you have anything else you would like to add?
Uh, Carlos, this is a yeah lessons learned. Great idea. Maybe we could track this as part of the weekly calls. Uh, what do you think? For maybe as part of the reviews, just also add any of the Minneapolis plugin changes that do test new features. Highlight those and discuss them during that slot. Would that work?
Yeah. So for the review focus etherpad, we try to group features, and for example, if you have one feature like share migration, for example, let's use this feature that's done as an example. What we do is we try to create the item, like the bullets on the review focus, and add all of the changes related to that feature. So there would be, like um, there would be the Manila change and the Python Manila client change, Manila Tempest plugin, all of them. They are usually listed there. But maybe we should communicate this in a different way, like being attention and paying attention. Like, for example, if someone proposed a change that doesn't list the Manila Tempest plugin, that, like in the list of changes that they are doing for a specific feature or a bug fix that would require that kind of action, then we should likely be enforcing it as the very first thing. Like we should be really pushing to have this done and to have the tests in. So yeah, it's nice if we can track it. Usually we talk more about the Manila changes and Python Manila client and everything that's added to that. But when we have a feature, it's usually like we are trying to take for granted that we are talking about this feature and people should be looking at all of the changes. But in reality, sometimes like people will mostly look at the Manila change and not at the other ones. So yeah, maybe bringing them up separately, but also trying to be even more clear that this is not something optional. This is something that it's required to do. And yeah.
We could possibly also consider this as the first bug squash. Um, the feature owner would, or somebody related would create these tests, and we could track that, uh, code review or any of the tests that were added. We could add that as part of the bug squash, the first bug squash as well. That way, we kind of encourage and enforce having these new tests being reviewed early on. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this makes sense. For the next bug squash, we try to make this become bugs or something like that. Um, and maybe we can, yeah, like say you can work on a bug, or you can, or could you please um, go ahead and work on this feature test that is currently open and it never got closed. So I think that's also something that we can do. In yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you,
Sure.
and thanks for the links as well, Gotham.
No, yeah,
Uh,
that's a tangent. But I think I was trying to say that we don't call out what you just said, which is we need Manila Tempest plugin changes. Ideally, anything that you're implementing has a first-party open source implementation. You should try your level best to create one if there's any possibility to do that. Um, and that allows us to test things in the CI, right? And we have some a strong enough thing that says you have to have a first party driver, and probably the reason we were trying to avoid that is because um, you know some things are going to be vendored always. um, that would that but something is could be an improvement here, if you
Yeah,
can pull this into whatever discussion we'll have. We can update these talks.
awesome. I can take that AI and update these docs. So thank you for that. I thought we actually called out about that, but yeah, I was giving it another look at the link again, and we say that it's like the testing should be there, but there isn't something very strict um, about the actual need for the implementation of the first party drivers when there's a third party driver thing. So thanks. Cool. Anything else?
Carlos, if you need, I can pitch in with this updating the document with respect to testing requirements. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Be glad to assist. Sure. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. Thanks, Vida. Next up, we have continuation with EtherCalc. They are impacting bugs cache and archiving stats. Yes, kind of being painful for the previous bug squashes. Vida, would you like to add more on that?
Yeah. So we've already transitioned from one venue to the other. And unfortunately, EtherCalc, this last Buck Squash was a close call, and it just hasn't been stable. I've started to see that our EtherCalcs are disappearing, or the content is disappearing, or other people won't be able to view it. So I'm just going to basically propose this as an alternative. Maybe we can look into an alternative venue, but in the meantime, plan on using Etherpad as we had to during this last Buck Squash. It's not as using Etherpad doesn't have the same features, of course, but maybe we just do that until we have an alternative platform.
Um, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And it's been painful, and I'm sorry for the troubles it caused. I think it for the previous bug squash you needed to create the list like 3 times, right? And it's painful. So really sorry for that. And you shared the list with me, and I wouldn't see the contents because it was acting up. So yeah, thanks for all of the effort. And I think using uh, either patch would be nice and a good replacement for now. And then we can look for new approaches on how to do that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's no problem, right? I think we need a stable platform. And part of this is also when we save the links to the Squash events, we would like to have archive the stats, right? So we'd like to have that data available. And currently we're not able to because of these issues. So it's long term, it's impacting us as well. And
Yeah,
thanks for your help on that. Yeah, Carlos.
no problem. Thanks. Cool. Uh, let's use Etherpad for now then. But yeah, thanks for bringing this up, Vida. That's a really annoying issue. Right. Last but not least, CI Gate watchers and contributors. Vida.
Yeah. So during the cycles, I've noticed that the same people seem to triage the failures, CI failures, and it maybe because it's recurring, it may be helpful if some contributors in the community. Um, during a cycle, they can volunteer, or maybe one or two people volunteer to keep an eye. So offload that extra triage effort from the same folks that tend to keep an eye. So I'm just calling it like the gate watchers, but the idea is to help um, have a stable coverage, and also maybe rotation to help out. A part of that, training could be a part of that, and it's kind of added incentive for folks who want to learn the environment and triaging it. So that's what this bullet is about.
Yeah, it's a very nice idea. Thanks for that. It's maybe I've seen a lot of people struggling with checking all on or how to look at some CI logs and identify how things are going. And it's likely a very good idea for how to, right? One of the how to videos. We can make that how to video out of a meeting, right? We had that before. Like we had the review jams, and we would have like one of the reviewers um, share their thoughts on how they would do a review and would do reviews live. We could have one of these for CI, and then we have one meeting with everyone trying to show how to navigate through the CI output, the CI logs, and see the variables from Zoo, see everything that's there. try to get everybody to the state where we are zoo experts, or have at least some common knowledge or knowledge shared on how to debug the CI. But the aspect of having more people to triage issues on CI is also very important, because yes, sharing the load is nice, and the upstream CI is something that is kind of should be maintained by every maintainer, and we should not only be caring about a couple of jobs or only be caring about the voting jobs. We should also be looking at the other jobs that are there. So I think the rotation would be nice. I'm not sure what would be a good frequency for that, and but yeah, it would be nice to come up with a model, maybe. Yeah, for having that for months and having that in pairs, or having that for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, someone is going to be looking at the CIC, if they look at the job runs, check if something is constantly failing, and then report bugs if needed. That would be a nice approach to it. Yeah, this should likely be discussed with a wider audience, though, and we should get more people involved on this. But yeah, it's something that I think I mentioned this with other people in the past. It's difficult when you have when you have only a couple of people maintaining the CI. It would be kind of like a shared responsibility. So yeah, good idea. I should likely bring this up in a weekly meeting and try to get other people's thoughts. The PTG would also be a very important thing, a very important place to bring it up. It would be nice if we had more people here to discuss with like different affiliations. I think we need to have everybody, regardless of affiliation, involved in something like that. So yeah, something that we need a wider audience. If we have the time, we can bring this up at the PTG, add this to the parking lot, or maybe yeah, try to get this discussed in a weekly meeting. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Thanks, Carlos.
Awesome. So that's all we had in terms of items. Is there something else you'd like to share, or yeah, add to the discussions, or any other thing that you would like to bring up? Right. So before we leave, I think I'll stop screen sharing, and then we can take a team picture. The next discussion we'll have is on Wednesday. It starts at 14 UTC. We have 3 hours of discussion. The day starts with all things FFS hour, and then we have like backups and a couple of other topics. So please join us for that as well. It's gonna be nice discussions. I'll be posting the recordings for all of the sessions at the end of the day, so or right after I have the recordings processed. So stay tuned for that. All of them are going to be posted to the OpenStack Manila YouTube channel. I'll add that to the Etherpad as well. Right? If you don't mind going off or on camera, if it's okay for you, then we should take a team picture. And yeah,
Vita, you always have the best backgrounds.
yeah,
I had to search.
She's somewhere in the middle of the universe.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. If you guys want to, the NASA site is the best one because there's no license or anything. It's free.
Nice.
You all look great. Miss you guys since the opening part, by the way.
Yeah, me too. Looking nice, everyone. Right, so if everybody's ready, I will take the screenshot in 3, 2, 1. Yay. Done. Right. Um,
Nice.
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
for joining. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you at the next session in 2 days. in
Thank you.
Wednesday, 14 UTC. Have a nice
Great
day.
topics.
Bye.
Thanks.
Awesome. See
See
you
you
guys.
guys.